Hey, what's going on, everybody? Mike Mangano, the sauce fella. I'm here in place of my sister because she is just tied up right now here at the Taste of Sicily. And we're going to be talking to Representative Russ Diamond from the 102nd District. And we're going to talk about what's going to happen on May 18th, why it's so important that we get out and vote. And do I have that date right, May 18th?
It is May 18th, that's correct. Tuesday, May 18th.
Tuesday, May 18th. All right, so let's get the video started here. We're going to keep it all business and professional. And we're going to ask Russ any questions that you might have, and he's going to cover a lot. So your question might actually be answered anyway. So I'm going to flip the camera around to Russ, and he could give us the lowdown on what is so significant and very, very important coming on May 18th. Here we go. I'll let you know when you're on.
All right.
Okay, Russ, take it away and let us know what is going on, why May 18th, 2021 is so very important.
Okay, on May 18th, 2021, the people of Pennsylvania are going to be able to vote to empower the General Assembly to terminate a disaster emergency declaration like the one Wolf's had us under for the last year for the COVID situation, and for the last 3 years almost on the opioid situation. So There'll be some questions on the ballot. There will be 3 constitutional amendments on the ballot. The first 2 have to do with the disaster emergency.
Okay.
The first question, you may remember last year we passed my House Resolution 836 to terminate the disaster emergency. It was passed in the Senate, it was passed in the House, but the Constitution says a concurrent resolution like that has to go to the governor to get the governor's permission, which is kind of ridiculous, but that's what the Constitution says. So it went to court, and the Supreme Court, in one of the few decisions the Supreme Court actually got right, said, no, the Constitution says this. Now, it's kind of a ridiculous proposition, because in order to impeach a governor, you only need a simple majority in the House and a 2/3 majority in the Senate. But for some reason, to overturn a simple disaster emergency, you need 2/3 in the House and 2/3 in the Senate. It's really ridiculous, and I credit that ridiculousness to the short-sightedness of the people in 1978 who wrote the Emergency Services Management Code when they said a concurrent resolution could overturn it. Because I just don't think they saw the took the Constitution into consideration when they did that. So the first question will change the Constitution to make sure that if we do another termination resolution like House Resolution 836, it doesn't have to be sent to the governor. Just be a simple majority in the House, simple majority in the Senate, and boom, disaster emergency is over. That's actually the simplest proposition, and actually the constitutional language that's being changed, I actually wrote that constitutional language, and the Senate picked it up and put it in their bill, so I'm really glad about that one.
Awesome, okay.
The second question has to do with the duration of a disaster emergency in Pennsylvania. Right now, what happens, and what has happened, is the governor can declare a disaster emergency, and it can last 90 days. At the end of that 90-day period, the governor can unilaterally, without any input from the General Assembly, extend it. And he's done that 4 times on the COVID emergency. Now, on the opioid emergency, he's done that 14 times. So if you think about that, the governor can get elected, and he could declare a disaster emergency. And let's say, based on what this governor has done, let's say a governor says, "Oh, we think gun violence is an emergency, so we're gonna suspend your rights on firearms." They could do that on day 1. They could just keep renewing that, after 90 days, time and time and time again, all through a governor's entire 4-year term. And the legislature could do nothing about it as long as 17 senators just agree with the governor. So that's kind of a ridiculous proposition, too. So the second question on the ballot will change the Constitution to say that if a governor declares a disaster emergency, and we do need that power in Pennsylvania, because if there's a flood, a hurricane, a blizzard,
something legitimate,
3 Mile Island, or something, you need to swoop in and do stuff.
I can understand that.
Within 21 days, that governor would then have to get the approval of the General Assembly to continue that disaster emergency beyond 21 days. So
it sounds to me like checks and balances.
that's exactly what it
Yeah.
is. We're restoring the checks and balances that were eliminated in 1978 when they wrote this Emergency Services Management Code. And look, I think they were short-sighted when they wrote this code.
Sure.
But you have to understand what they were under. They had been through Hurricane Agnes in 1972. There was
Right.
a lot more flooding, some very severe flooding in 1977 as
Right.
well.
Right.
And in the winter of 77, 78, we had the energy crisis.
Right.
So people were hammering on their doors going, oh, the state didn't react fast enough. You got to do something. So they did something.
Right.
They were just a little bit short-sighted.
Sure, because now we see what we're seeing today.
Yeah,
Right,
because-
right.
And I don't think they actually anticipated any governor would try to use this for a virus.
Right.
You know, they said, look, this is for natural disasters, man-made disasters, imminent danger.
Right.
In case the army of New Jersey, is crowded on the border and ready to attack us. Or
Right.
something like that. That
Right,
sort of thing.
right, yeah.
So those are the first two questions, and we need everybody to vote yes on both of them.
Yeah.
There's a third question, and I know a lot of people have a lot of questions about this
Okay.
because it is simply offering a guarantee that your rights won't be abridged in any way, shape, or form based on your race or ethnicity.
Right.
For instance, somebody might want to pass a law that says no Italian can open a pizza joint, or no Irishman can own a bar room. You wouldn't
Right.
want that to happen. It's very simple.
Right.
Now, I know a lot of people are a little confused about this because it does have that ethnicity, and the word equality has
Right.
been used with this. So they confuse it with that thing in Washington, D.C., the Equality Act.
Right.
This has nothing to do with that. This is
Okay.
simply on issues of race and ethnicity, which we can all establish pretty well in our head.
Right.
The Democrats tried to put all the gender stuff in here, but we shut them down because
Okay.
we wanted to keep this a simple question, and we didn't want it to get all confused.
Sure.
So
Understood.
I'll
Understood.
be voting yes on that too, because I don't want somebody telling me that I can't do something simply because of my Irish heritage.
Right, right, I got you.
So I'm asking for a yes, yes, yes vote. Now,
Right.
there will be a fourth question on the ballot. It is not a constitutional amendment.
Okay.
It is simply a debt referendum.
Okay.
Sometimes the Commonwealth has to ask the people for permission to do different kinds of debt in Pennsylvania, and this one has to do with a program that offers grants and loans for volunteer fire companies. It's whether you want to extend that to paid fire companies as
Right.
well. So don't be confused by that. Use your best judgment if you want the Commonwealth to go into debt for additional programs for paid fire companies or not.
Right.
So that's the four questions on the ballot. Now, I want to remind you that this is a primary election on May 18th, but that doesn't mean that if you're not a Republican or a Democrat, you can't vote. Every voter can vote on these questions.
Right. Regardless.
Regardless.
Okay.
If you're not a Republican, you're not a Democrat, that's
Yeah.
okay. They'll have special ballots with just these questions on.
Okay.
The other thing to remember is that here in Lebanon County, we also have a special election. We're electing a new senator here. Our Senator Dave Arnold
Yeah.
passed away.
Yeah.
So we have to fill that seat. So this is the election to elect that new senator.
Okay.
And in some other areas of the state too, I know Westmoreland County, or Armstrong County, there's a special election. I think there's 4 special elections across
Okay.
the state in the county. So even if you're independent elsewhere as well, just show up. You can vote on these questions. You
Right.
may have a special election where you can decide who is the new legislator
Right.
for your district. That's very, very important.
Okay.
You'll be voting at the same place where you always vote, where you went to vote for president last year.
Okay.
You vote there. You can also vote by absentee ballot as well. I mean, if you need an absentee ballot, you can apply for one on votespa.com.
Right.
You can also call your county board of elections.
Okay.
The one other thing I wanted to talk to you about is that I know that Christina showed that yes sign. I mean, we're advocating for a yes vote on these constitutional amendments.
Right.
People wanted to know where to get them. If you go to my website, which is russdiamond.vote, not .com, but russdiamond.vote,
Right.
we're going to have those yes signs at the Lebanon Farmers Market on April 17th. You can go on my website, you can pre-order them, and you can just show up on the 17th
Right.
and get one there. So go ahead to russdiamond.vote, look for the yard sign link, and you can find out how to get one of those yard
Yeah.
signs. I think I covered everything that's important about this. Look,
Okay.
it's so important that you get out to vote. I know everybody has, issues about the last election and that sort of thing. But look, if you don't get out and vote this time, you're just giving up.
Right.
You're just giving up.
And that brings me to my question here, because there's a lady on here, Jennifer Dodge, now, and this kind of piggybacks onto what you're talking about here in this on that subject. So she states, why should we vote if it's not going to change anything? And I agree with you. We need to not think about the last election and some of the glitches and things that have happened there, and we cannot give up, and this is very important. So go ahead. Go ahead.
So look, I know you have frustrations about the last election, but let me tell you, that doesn't mean it's time to give up. You really have to go out and vote yes on these, and I'll tell you why. If we actually lose these constitutional amendments about the disaster emergency, the General Assembly can't put this issue on the ballot again for another 5 years. That's law in Pennsylvania. Once we ask you, and if the people of Pennsylvania say, no, we're not changing the Constitution, you can't ask that same question for another 5 years. So if you want to spend another 5 years under this kind of disaster emergency,
no matter who gets in,
it doesn't matter who gets in. I mean, you don't know who the next governor is going to be. So if you don't want to spend the next 5 years under this situation where there's no checks and balances on disaster emergencies, fine, stay home. But please don't stay home. Get out, vote yes, and look. This is also a municipal primary election too. This is where you elect your school board members, your township supervisors, your borough councilmen, judges,
the ones that really affect you.
Yeah, these are the races, these are the people who are elected close to you, and they impact your life far more than any president ever will for Washington, D.C. I mean, I get so stunned and upset when people only think we only have one election every 4 years. We have 2 elections every single year in Pennsylvania, and unless you participate in every one of them,
your voice isn't being heard.
Your voice is not being heard, especially on. I mean, look, your school board is the one who charges you property taxes. Your county row officials, they're responsible for a part of your property taxes as well. Your township supervisors, they spend your property taxes, and decide who cleans the street, who picks up the garbage, all the things that are going on in your local community. You've got to get out and vote in this election on May 18th. Even if these constitutional amendments were not on the ballot, I would be urging people, get out and vote, because these are the people who are making the decisions in your neighborhood, in your town, in your community, that affect your everyday life far more than anybody ever in Washington, D.C. will affect your life.
All right, another question here, which kind of goes back to the original question. Kami Coates asks, did we fix the problem that we had with the last election? Like, do we have any concerns that if we go out and we do vote, do we have to worry about anything?
No, I don't think we have to worry about anything.
Okay.
Look, I'm a member of the House State Government Committee. I'm also the Speaker's designee to the Joint State Government Commission's Election Law Advisory Board. We have been having hearings and hearings and hearings, and we are getting to the bottom of what's wrong with Pennsylvania's election. There's a lot of things wrong with Pennsylvania's election code. But I think that everybody we've drugged before our committee to have a hearing, I think they're alert now. And they know that we're watching. So I don't think that, all the stuff that happened during the 2020 election, whatever it was, I just don't think that's going to happen during this election.
But
if you stay home, it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? It's like you stay home, you're just giving up. You're like forfeiting your right to participate here and to have a say.
What do you think of this question? Russ, can you please write a bill securing our constitutional rights from a totalitarian government? I believe they're still in force, right? Nothing was changed.
Our constitutional rights have never been set aside. No disaster emergency can set aside your constitutional rights. And Judge Stickman said that.
Exactly.
And other courts have said that too. No emergencies, supersede constitutional rights. So I don't know how many more laws you want to write on that. I mean, it's the very first part of our state constitution. It's the declaration. It's a declaration of rights, and we're not asking permission for rights. We're declaring those are our rights.
In other words, what Taisa Sisley has done, and with you and everybody else, Doug Mastriano, Pierre Hess Graff, Bill Ames, Frank Ryan, Dan Muser, and everybody that stood up with us. We basically are standing up for what we never lost.
Exactly.
They were ours to begin with.
Now,
yeah, gotcha.
I often say this, Mike.
Yeah.
I am not surprised that a guy like Tom Wolfe tried to do this to Pennsylvania.
Right.
What I'm more surprised by and disappointed by
Yep.
is how many Pennsylvanians actually fell for it.
That's right.
And didn't realize what their rights actually were.
We always talk about that, here we are as Taste of Sicily. We stood up. You guys backed us and backed us for what was literally right and constitutional.
Yeah.
We never did anything illegal or wrong. We simply stood up. And I agree with you. I am shocked and literally surprised at how many Americans simply do not know, nor did they exercise their unalienable God-given rights confirmed by the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah. It's absolutely stunning to me. It really lends to my thought that we're just not teaching enough civics in schools anymore. I mean, we need civics in schools.
Yeah.
And, as an adult, we need you to be able to actually read the Constitution and understand what your rights are, so that when somebody like Tom Wolfe comes and tries to con you into thinking you don't have those rights anymore,
right,
you can just stand up and say, yeah, that's not the way it works, pal.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I guess that's pretty much it. Let me see here. All right, here's another one. See, what do you think of this? What about the counties where the Democrats kicked out the Republican observers? Did that happen?
There were places where that happened.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to understand that there's ambiguity in Pennsylvania's law. But again, I think because of what happened in November 2020,
right,
those counties are not going to want to get caught doing that again.
Right.
So, pardon me. I think everybody's going to be on their best behavior this time.
Yeah.
I really do. But here's the thing. Fuck you, Russ! That was somebody who was very kind going by, yelling some vulgarities at us.
I see they're walking by, running away, saying that. That's what I see.
They're not coming up here and saying that.
Exactly.
Like, God bless you too.
Well, they're looking at the lies because that's how he would have known.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're paying attention. Okay.
Well, we have a lot of haters out there, don't we, Mike?
Yeah.
We're not going to mention them by name, but hi, haters.
Yeah.
Look, we're here talking about our rights. I know you don't like our rights, and I know you don't like, the way we believe.
Right.
But guess what? We're not wrong.
Right. Yeah, totally agree. Yep. All right, so I think that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I think you've covered everything. I want to make sure that we stay on track with this topic, and I think you've done an outstanding job doing that.
Well, look, if you have any questions, you can contact me through my website, russdiamond.vote. That's also where you can go if you want to get one of those yes signs for your yard. Again, we'll be over at the farmer's market on next Saturday. On next Saturday, that's April 17th from 9 to 3. We'll be over there. You can pre-order your signs at russdiamond.vote. And, if you have any questions, you can email me through there, too, and I will answer any questions you have.
All right, Russ, that's pretty much it. Let me shake your hand here, and I want to thank you once again for your support.
Appreciate it.
And I consider you a true patriot and standing up with us and with all Americans. Backing us with the unalienable God-given rights confirmed by the Constitution that we literally have, that we've never lost. And, you don't have to listen to the governor, and you don't have to listen to Levine, which Levine is not even around anymore.
She's not anymore. She's down in D.C.
Yeah.
Making havoc on the whole country.
Right.
So,
Yeah. All right. Good to go.
Thanks, brother.
All right, thanks. All right, my Goombas. Well, there you have it. We had the awesome Russ Diamond, giving us the lowdown on how we need to get out and vote. And, we're just doing what we should do as Americans, Sometimes the sentiment is you shouldn't mix